Hey everybody, first, sorry I didn't post one yesterday. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. Because I have a house guest, I've also taken the show on the road. Big congratulations to Donald Driver for winning Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars was the #2 most watched show for women ages 18 to 49 last year. The #2. You know what the #3 one was? Sunday Night Football. In the 14 seasons that Dancing with the Stars has been on, 7 times has an athlete won the crown. And of those, 3 have been NFL stars. Hines Ward, Emmitt Smith, and now Donald Driver. There's real power in the female sports fan base. You just can't talk about sports without talking about Tim Tebow nowadays. And he's been kind of all over the news. First, the high school kid had his diploma held because he Tebowed during graduation. His mom is a math teacher at the school. My friends who had teachers as parents, like, oh Lord, they would never have done that, so he should have known better. They just took his diploma and said he couldn't get it until he cleaned the gymnasium after graduation, which, by the way, was his mom's idea. Tebowing is actually going to be a part of the new Madden football game. I actually have a picture of me Tebowing. I'm actually at the playoff game in Gillette Stadium when they played the Patriots, and I was with friends of mine who are Patriot season ticket holders, and I was the only Broncos fan in the section that I was sitting. Costas 2.0 and I were at the first professional game that he played in when the Broncos played the Jags for opening season a couple of years ago, which, by the way, Tim Tebow should totally be the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, they are the most apathetic base of football fans out there and constantly are having the game blocked out because they don't sell enough tickets. When we went to that game, there were more Tim Tebow jerseys, Bronco Tim Tebow jerseys in that stadium. Can you imagine what a wonderful pairing that would be for Tim Tebow to be the starting quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Like, why hasn't this happened? Really? Like, who do I need to call? I do like Tim Tebow the person. I like his work ethic. I like his attitude. I like that he understands the gravity of being. But I think Tim Tebow is in real danger right now in the NFL. Nobody knows what to do with Tim Tebow. He's great for ticket sales. He's exciting to watch sometimes. Sometimes if he's on your team, sometimes it's painful and frustrating to watch because you're like, oh my gosh, just freaking do something. Get rid of the ball already. Curious about Tim Tebow, the businessman. I highly recommend checking out. I've seen it on ESPN, Everything in Between. It shows Tim Tebow, like, how seriously he takes the brand of Tim Tebow. If you remember the fanfare around Kordell Stewart, you know, when Kordell Stewart came out of Colorado, he was this really versatile player. And in fact, he was a quarterback in college, but his first 2 years, he was drafted by the Steelers, his first 2 years, he played wide receiver because they didn't want him to be the starting quarterback. And finally, in '97, he got the opportunity to be the starter because the quarterback got hurt. And they did really well that year. They ended up going to the AFC Championship game where, wait, it comes full circle. You know it always comes full circle. Where they lost to the Denver Broncos. Yes, that's right. Side note, I didn't get to see that game because I was at basic training. Following 2 seasons, like, Kordell Stewart was kind of all over the place. Like, they didn't do very well. They lost a lot of, like, key players. They lost some coaches. They just couldn't get back to where they were. 2000, he lost the starting job, then got it back because the quarterback got injured. 2001, Kordell Stewart had his best season. 13-3. They made it to the AFC Championship game, and they lost to the Pats. After that, like, he just never really found it. You know, he ended up getting traded to the Bears and lost the starting job to Rex Grossman. I mean, Kordell Stewart's nickname was Slash because he was always a something/something, a quarterback/receiver/punter/punt returner. That's where Tim Tebow's headed. Nobody knows what to do with him, and so they're trying to do too much with him. And what they're really doing by spreading him out so thin over all these different, like, well, what if we try this, or what if we try this? They're really taking away his opportunities to better craft his ability to be a quarterback. Every time he's practicing with the punting team, that's time that he's not practicing as a quarterback. That's time he's not learning the office. That's time he's not figuring out how to, shorten his drop back. That's time he's not getting repetitions with a better throwing form. That's time he's not learning how to read defenses. Kordell Stewart ended up having a 70.7 passer rating and throwing like 10 more interceptions than touchdowns in his NFL career. He actually has the second highest number of rushing touchdowns in a season with 38. Any guess at who's number one? Steve Young. I mean, I watched a lot of 49ers football when Steve Young was the quarterback, and I would not have guessed that. Steve Young actually had 43 rushing touchdowns in his NFL career. Now, of course, we have Cam Newton, who had 13 in one season. So I imagine as Cam progresses in Carolina, Steve Young's record will definitely be in danger of being broken. I mean, in 3 seasons, Tim Tebow has 12 rushing touchdowns. So that gives you any perspective on it. So of course there's a lot of buzz in New York right now about if Tim Tebow's going to start, and now that he's done some OTAs, and word on the street is that it's kind of up and down still. Like he doesn't. I've heard that Tim Tebow is not a good practice quarterback. Newsflash. How can people start you if you're not good at practicing what you're doing? Like, I would have loved Peyton Manning to come to the Broncos and then Tim Tebow to be the backup. I understand from a business standpoint why he wouldn't want to do that. And I understand from Peyton Manning's perspective why he wouldn't want to have Tim Tebow breathing down his neck for his, last 4 years that he plays football. That's what Tim Tebow needs. He needs a mentor. He needs that role where he can just study the game, study the mechanics of the game, and learn from arguably one of the most intelligent quarterbacks of our time. Tebow's thrown for a little over 2,300 yards so far, and he has a 47% completion rate. Is that who you want your starting quarterback to be? Somebody with, I know he's got a lot of heart. I'm not saying he doesn't. And I'm not saying he's not exciting to watch. But I want a quarterback who's actually going to throw catchable balls and not panic and go for the run whenever the pressure's on. I don't want a quarterback who's going to be the protector dude for the punt team. What? On to predictions for tonight's game. The Sixers are making me look bad. They keep winning. I keep picking against them. And I'm going to pick against them again. I'm still going with the Celtics. I think they win the series. Don't let me down, guys.